Okay. So actually, I'll start with the title first. So my title was whether you think you can or you think you can't. You're right. First, well, I hope that eventually you'll understand where I got that from after showing you my messages and representations, right? So first, I started by finding the actors and the actors' actions to the role in the story, right? So Jesus, he prayed, he was alone, and then he waited until dawn to come back to his disciples, and they were already in the middle of the sea, but he walked on the water and came to them. I think that was more of testing the faith of his disciples, especially since, yeah. But Peter, his faith wavered and he challenged Jesus. He questioned if Jesus was actually walking on water, and therefore challenged Jesus even further to see if he could walk on water. Right? The wind blew as a result, I guess, and he was scared and lost faith in Jesus and almost sank. Of course, Jesus came and saved him. And my third actor is the wind, because the wind has significant roles in the story. So the wind, it blew away the boat, right? It blew harder when Peter steps outside of the boat, and the wind died almost after the altercation was complete. Okay, some representations that I found were the wind. I think the wind is a representation of opposition or maybe resistance. In this scenario, it was challenging his faith. But in another scenario, it could be challenging your belief in yourself or in your abilities, right? Or maybe the lack of, maybe having self-doubt or lack of complete confidence that you would get after starting something new. Or I guess in more current terms, like, oh, I'm in over my head, something like that. That would be a representation. And the human experience that I would like match with that would be doubt. Well, yeah, self-doubt. The message that I got from all this was, well, sorry, let me backtrack. The walking on water was also a representation of something. It was a representation of trying new things, because he didn't know that he could. He didn't really think that he could walk on water, but he still tried it, and he got his result. So the message for Peter, I would say, is the world is how you perceive it. If you assume you can't do something, you automatically won't be able to. This is shown through the passage when he jumps out on water on a whim, but is scared almost immediately and then sinks because he didn't believe that Jesus would help him, or he couldn't do it himself, right? That is my message for Peter. Then I went on to Jesus. I first defined Jesus' role again. So Jesus is a teacher, something of a mentor in this situation, but I wanted to use something, relevant to our life now. So he's a teacher mentoring a student, right? And I guess in this scenario, he has a student, right? And his student is not fully believing that they can do something. But instead of criticizing his student, he seeks to understand what was wrong with his student, maybe in an attempt to help him. I think that's a representation of a good mentor who, instead of trying to hurt their student, they actually try to build them up and make them better. I guess the representations would be Peter falling would be a representation of the humans or students' ignorance, right? And then you have Jesus as a good mentor, asking, hey, why did you doubt? Why do you have doubt, right? That would be more of understanding instead of criticizing. A true representation of a good mentor. My message for Jesus would be, you as a teacher should be that anchor that your students can fall to. Whether they mess up or do good, you should always be there for them, not intending to do them any harm whatsoever. And with that, my title, it's teach students like your life depends on it. We could go back in the text and see that, well, I guess maybe not teach, but help students like your life depends on it. Because in the story, Peter didn't believe fully. And his lack of, you could even say knowledge, his lack of knowledge caused him to not believe, and also fear. And then he was he was about to die. Luckily, Jesus came in to save them. I also think that that has a representation. But that is my speech. My title is, one more time, Peter's is Whether You Think You Can or You Think You Can't, you're right. And for Jesus, it'd be Teach Like Your Student's Life Depends on It. Thank you.